Hello fans, welcome to Man Utd Transfer HQ. Stay updated with the latest transfer gossip and breaking news.
Our today news is Rasmus Hojlund's scathing assessment within Man Utd camp proves Roy Keane right. Roy Keane's previous concerns about Rasmus Hojlund are being proven right as the Denmark international continues to struggle for form and goals at Manchester United. Patience with Rasmus Hojlund is running out at Manchester United, both internally and externally. The striker has now gone 16 matches without scoring, and with just 2 Premier League goals to his name since the season began, serious doubts about his ability, and his Old Trafford future, have emerged. Faith in him within the United camp is dwindling rapidly, with one coach offering a scathing assessment of the 22-year-old's performance against Tottenham 10 days ago. His recent struggles suggest that Roy Keane's initial concerns about him were on the money. Little over a year ago, the former Manchester United skipper, 53, lambasted Hojlund for not being clinical enough and lacking a real desire to get on the score sheet. "I'd be fuming with him if I was manager," Keane insisted after the £72 million Denmark international failed to score against League One side Wigan in the FA Cup back in January 2024, squandering several clear-cut chances. "He wasn't clinical, he's missing his chances. We can say unlucky, oh dear. But he has to create opportunities for himself and put them in the back of the net. Stop messing about." A few days later, the Irishman tore into Hojlund again. "He's been allowed some time now to bet himself into the club, into English football, but now we're talking about Man United. You have to have that real desire to score goals. These players just don't have the desire to score, and he, Hojlund, has not shown it. There have been players that have come to Man United and we've spoken about how unlucky they are, but you can't keep waiting." Hojlund reacted to Keane's criticism in the best possible way, scoring 7 goals in his next 6 games. However, his struggles in the 12 months since have largely undone the momentum he built during that purple patch. Shortly after arriving, Ruben Amorim insisted Hojlund was an important cog in his side, but urged the striker to improve his efficiency in possession. "I think he has to improve more because sometimes he gives too many touches when he holds the ball," the United head coach said in November. "It's very important for us because when we are in a low block he is the guy to hold the ball and connect for transitions. He did that very well, he has those characteristics. He is aggressive in the box, he is a quality player. But, he has a lot to improve." Hojlund joined United from Atlanta in 2023 in a deal worth an initial £64 million, which could rise to a whopping £72 million with add-ons. He arrived with just 18 league goals under his belt, a tally that he's since increased to 30. Stay tuned for more updates on Man Utd Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more Man United. Our second news is Ruben Amorim points finger of blame for Rasmus Hojlund goal drought. Rasmus Hojlund hasn't scored a single goal in any competition in 2025 and Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim has given his take on the striker's struggles. Manchester United as a whole must take responsibility for Rasmus Hojlund's lack of goals, according to head coach Ruben Amorim. Danish striker Hojlund finished his first United season as the team's leading scorer, netting 10 times in the Premier League and 16 times in all competitions. He has found it harder this term, though, with just 2 of his 7 goals coming in the league. NCE taking over at Old Trafford in November, Amorim has struggled for consistency, in part due to United's struggles up front. His 15 league games in charge have brought just 18 goals, with 10 of those coming from players either out for the season or since departed. Before their comeback against Everton on Saturday, Amorim's team had gone more than 250 minutes without a league goal. It's 2 months since Hojlund last netted in any competition, with the former Atlanta star scoring a match-winning brace against Victoria Plzen in the Europa League, but Amorim isn't pinning all the blame on the player himself. "I think it's clear, we as a team, we are not helping Rasmus," the United boss said. "We don't create a lot of chances, we had a lack of threat and you can feel it in the games. Sometimes we are in the final third but you don't feel it like we are a very dangerous team, and you feel it also when we are defending a little bit more. Sometimes the opponents are not afraid of transitions. I have this feeling also as a coach, we are not helping also the strikers. I think Rasmus has a lot of potential. I think if we improve the way we play the game we'll have more opportunities to score. I think he came here very young, and when you are very young, to be the number 9 and play all the time, sometimes it's hard. So it's everything together, it's the context. United are up against relegation-threatened Ipswich on Wednesday, and Amorim insisted he has seen plenty of positives from Hojlund, both in training and on the pitch. We have to look at Rasmus as a player, the Portuguese continued. He has the pace, he has the technique, he scores some goals that are really hard to score. Sometimes he doesn't choose the better runs, sometimes he's so anxious to touch the ball because he passes long minutes without the ball and he moves away from the goal, where he's supposed to be, especially in the final third. So we address that in training, but sometimes it has to be the confidence of the player, but especially the way we play. I see it in training, he has the ability and he already showed it here. But I think it's more a team thing than a Rasmus thing. If we improve, Rasmus will improve. Stay tuned for more updates on Man Utd Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss to subscribe. Our third news is Marcus Rashford told Man United will block stunning transfer. Never in a million years. Marcus Rashford left Manchester United for Aston Villa in January, joining them on loan, with the forward told his parent club were never going to sign off on him moving to a rival. Marcus Rashford has been told Manchester United would never have sanctioned a move to Arsenal despite his future at the club seemingly over. The forward was cast aside under Ruben Amorim, who had overlooked him for weeks before agreeing to let him leave on loan. Rashford joined Aston Villa until the end of the season as he looks to rediscover his best form once more. 2 years ago, the frontman hit the 30-goal mark for the first time but has struggled since and was looking for a route out of Manchester. United were always going to be wary of where they sent him, eventually opting for Villa Park. Ben Foster, a former goalkeeper at Old Trafford, claims despite talk of interest from Arsenal the Red Devils were never going to greenlight a move to the Emirates with Villa a more favourable option, as he hinted that they would be viewed as less of a rival. Speaking on his podcast, he said, Man United would never loan him to Arsenal, in January, never in a million years. They're not going to send him, now. Even if Marcus Rashford kicks off massively, Manchester United would never, ever send him to Arsenal, never in a million years. Happily send him to Villa. It's that next rung down. They're never sending him to Arsenal, I guarantee you that. Rashford was understood to be keen on a move to Barcelona, which is reportedly still on his mind. Villa do have a purchase option to land the forward for £40 million, but the Englishman hasn't looked much beyond the current campaign. He said, obviously it's only short term that I'm here, but I want to make the most of my time here, and the only way to do that is by using my attributes and skill sets to help the team. Amorim continued to be honest in his assessment of Rashford before he eventually departed. The United boss hinted at an attitude clash and eventually confessed that he and the player were not aligned in how they viewed the game and training performances. He said, I couldn't get Marcus to see the way you're supposed to play football and to train the way I see it. Sometimes you have one player that is really good with one coach, and the same player with another coach is different. I wish the best to Rashford and to Villa manager, Unai Emery, and they can connect because he's a very good player. Stay tuned for more updates on Man Utd Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more Man United transfer news. Our last news is Marcus Rashford and Antony's loan deals clarified as Man United recall option mooted. Manchester United have struggled in the final third so far this season, but the club are unable to recall forwards Marcus Rashford and Antony from their respective loans at Aston Villa and Real Betis. Manchester United will not be recalling Marcus Rashford or Antony to try and solve their attacking woes. United let both Rashford and Antony leave the club on loan in the January transfer window after they fell out of favour under Ruben Amorim, but they did not end up signing a replacement with left-back Patrick Dorgu and teenage centre-back Aiden Heaven their only new additions. Both Rashford and Antony have impressed at their new clubs, with Rashford producing 2 assists in Aston Villa's comeback win over Chelsea last weekend and Antony making 5 goal contributions in 6 games so far. Real Betis United, meanwhile, are continuing to struggle and suffered a major injury blow when star forward Ahmad suffered a season-ending injury earlier this month. As a result, Amorim has been forced to turn to young academy prospect Chido Obi, with the 17-year-old making appearances off the bench against Tottenham and Everton. United's struggles have led to questions over whether they could potentially recall Rashford or Antony, but a new report from the Daily Mail claims that neither player has a recall option in their loan deals. The report also states that United would be unable to take advantage of any recall clause even if it did exist, as the savings they are making on Rashford and Antony's wages have been baked in to their accounts as they look to avoid falling foul of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Villa are said to be covering a minimum of 70% of Rashford's whopping £315,000 a week wages, and that could rise to 90% if the forward hits certain targets. Betis, meanwhile, are covering 84% of Antony's £105,000 a week wages plus bonuses. United striker Rasmus Hojlund has come in for criticism in recent weeks, with the 22-year-old having netted just 2 league goals all season. However, when asked about Hojlund's struggles ahead of United's clash with Ipswich on Wednesday, Amorim defended the forward. "I think it's clear, we as a team, we are not helping Rasmus," Amorim said. "We don't create a lot of chances. We have a lack of threat and you can feel it in the game. Sometimes, we are like in the final third, but you don't feel like we are a very dangerous team. You feel it also when we are defending a little bit more low. Sometimes the opponents are not afraid of transitions, so I have this feeling also as a coach, that we are not helping the strikers. I think Rasmus has a lot of potential." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Man United Transfer HQ, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop with the latest transfer news and rumors. One more thing.